All right, what is going on? My name is Johnny. This is the 2022 NASCAR Playoff Preview Show presented by Johnny on the Track. I'm saying that like I'm sponsored or something. I am not. I'm just super excited for tonight's show. I am joined by three, I would call them frenemies, friends, enemies. We'll see by the end of the show if they're friends or enemies. We shall see, but three of the best in the community. They're familiar faces to Johnny on the Track. And let's start with the motor minister himself, Armani. Armani, thanks for joining. Can you tell the fans where to check you out?
You can check me out on Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and Anchors. Just search up the Motorsport Ministry, and you can find me on Twitter at Motor Minister or on Instagram at Armani DePaul.
Perfect. All right, so there's one. I'm also joined by the Vanilla Wafer himself, my friend Tyler. Tyler, where can the fans find you?
You can find me at Vanilla Wafers at YouTube, where it's also a connection to my podcast. Website is down at the moment, but I will get that one back going. But at Twitter, you can follow me at TylerV33. You can find me there as well.
No shout out to your TikTok page? What is this?
Oh yeah, at Vanilla Wafers 44. Yeah,
he likes to keep that on the down low, I guess.
Well, last time I did a shout out to that, Rick Bear Racing was on my ass, so I was like, "Oh shit, I have to keep that on the down low now."
All right, well, it's a good thing we're not talking Rick Ware Racing tonight. That is for sure. And finally, I am joined by NASCAR Opinion, my good friend Will, the first ever guest on Johnny on the Track. So fun fact, and I think he's also the most tenured guest on Johnny on the Track. Will, where can the fans find you?
Well, if you really want to follow me on Twitter, is where I'm pretty much at by myself, which is NASCAR_opinion. But I do a lot of social media work for some dirt tracks up in the South Carolina and Georgia. So Cherokee Speedway, Livonia Speedway, the Carolina Sprint Tour, which is a traveling sprint car series in the Carolinas. So check out their stuff, and that means you'd be helping me in turn. So there you go.
Yeah, and he's not as cool as he sounds there. He's really making himself sound a lot better than he is. Yeah, he's kind of popular. Well said, Armani. But no, all jokes aside, super to have these guys on. Super happy to have these guys on. And without further ado, let's get into it. So we are definitely going to preview round by round who gets eliminated, and then we will make our championship picks. But I do want to flash back to Sunday's race. So obviously we know what happened with the race. Austin Dillon wins, and Ryan Blaney beats out Martin Truex Jr. for the final spot just via the points. I don't really want to talk about the race and how it all went down, but I do want to talk about how a guy top 5 in points, Martin Truex Jr., is not going to be racing for a championship. Let's just put the format aside. Where does NASCAR, putting it aside this year, right? We know what happened, but where does NASCAR need to go, and what changes need to be made so we don't see this again? I said yesterday, I said, hey, possibly we can do a format, a scenario where playoff points are what determines who's in the playoffs. Martin Truex Jr. didn't have any wins, but I think he led all drivers in playoff points. Perhaps that's a way they can go about it, where wins still mean something with 5 playoff points, but they don't determine when in you're in. So that's just the thought I have, but I want to leave it up to you guys to, hear what you think. So I will start with you, Armani, because I see you on the screen first. So what is the format that you think NASCAR should go with moving forward?
Here's my thing. Just before we start talking about what I think the format should change, you're Martin Truex Jr. You drive for Joe Gibbs Racing. You are a former Cup Series champion. You won 4 races last year with essentially the same team, same crew chief and everything. All 3 of your teammates managed to win a race. Yes, Kyle Busch's win, was, from dubious circumstances, but all 3 of your teammates still managed to win a race. 2311, a satellite Toyota team, not even the main Toyota team, still managed to win a race. If the best you can muster up as a former champion, as a top team in the sport, is 3 top 5s throughout the entire year, yeah, you got 7 stage wins, but great, that's not what you got to do. Playoff format aside, you know what you have to do, and they fail. And in fact, and I don't want to hear things like, oh, it's hard to win races. This or that. Again, you're a top team. All 3 of your teammates did it. Both RCR cars did it. Both Trackhouse cars did it. So if you're Martin Truex Jr. and you're that 19 team, you have nobody to blame but yourselves. I feel no sympathy for Martin Truex Jr. at all. They knew what they had to do, and they failed. If Blaney missed, that's it. The same thing for Blaney. Now,
No, I agree. I agree. I just want to make a note. So I totally agree. And that's a thing that Will and I were talking before you guys got on, and I'll let you finish our money. But yeah, I mean, like, they blew New Hampshire. I would say they probably blew Vegas. I mean, they definitely blew New Hampshire 100%. Fastest car all weekend, fastest car the first 2 stages, a dumb call. They blew that race. I would say they probably blew Vegas, not taking just 2 tires. And then they were beat out by Bowman and Larson. And then that first Richmond race, I think he had a legitimate shot to win, couldn't get it done. Just better calls by better crew chiefs, really. So yeah, I'm with you, but I'll go back to, where do we go? Where do we go from here?
so here's the thing. NASCAR has already made their championship confusing enough as it is. Really, I think winning you're in is as simple as you could get. If you start adding things like, oh, the most stage wins, or you start adding, here's the thing also with playoff points, there are drivers who have won stages and have still been lower in points than drivers ahead of them who don't have stage wins. I think it was last year where Kevin Harvick, he entered the playoffs, I think, with either 0 playoff points or his only playoff points were for finishing top 10 in points. And there was definitely guys below him that missed the playoffs that did win stages. So that can cause some problems. But the last thing NASCAR needs to do is make it more complicated. Really, I think it's either you keep winning or you just get rid of it entirely and just make it points. The last thing NASCAR needs to do is add more rules.
What do you, I see your reaction there, Will. What do you think?
So I have a theory, and my thought is to make this as simple as possible. My unique idea that apparently no one has thought of is we should go by the amount of points a driver scores in the season to determine who races for a championship. We only did it for 50 some odd years. Formula One does it, IndyCar does it, drag racing does it, dirt racing does it. Pretty sure motorcycle racing does it. You know, my whole thing about Truex is, great, you couldn't win a race. I understand it. I get it. It's the trendy deal. Winning you're in is exciting. I've said many, many times, this is the most exciting format in the sports history. That's why, realistically, it's never going to change, or at least not change for, I'm going to say, the better. It's definitely entertaining. It does exactly what NASCAR wants it to do. But it's hard for me to wrap my mind around the guy who sits 4th in points, who was consistent for the most part. He now does not get to run for the championship, but the guy who ran 20th every week and 19th in points, he now has a shot to win a championship. Now, is he going to? No, absolutely not. But it's the point of it. You know, if I were to make a change, my simplest changes, now I would prefer a lot of differences, but I'm going to be realistic. I mean, I'd love to go to just 12 drivers. They're going to stick with 16. I would say you can keep it 16, just make it where the top 16 in points make the playoffs. Now, you could still further incentivize winning. I don't like that winning a race, you could still win the race and score less points than another guy in the race. I don't like that. I think there should be a clear-cut difference, whether it's 15 to 20 points. You should be rewarded a huge amount of points for winning the race. Make it a difference to where it actually shows in the standings, okay, this guy's won 4 races, this guy's only won 1 race, okay? These still have to be consistent because we're still going off of points, but winning a race should truly have some sort of gap. I mean, again, we've had situations where guys won a race and scored less points than other drivers in the field. Makes no sense to me. If you win the race, you should by far score the most points on the day and by a decent margin.
I think, honestly, the best argument to that, to your point, Will, is that winning means a lot in the regular season, but it's funny because, sure, like, if you win, you make it to the next round in the playoffs. but really the playoffs just comes down to consistency. That's the bottom line with the playoffs. It's all about consistency. So although even though you're winning and you're in the playoffs, what really it comes down to to race for a championship is consistency. So that's why, like a guy like Martin Truex, like a guy like Ryan Blaney, they're probably going to make it pretty far in the playoffs because they've been consistent.
Just to throw this out there, what is going to add better quality to the playoffs? Would it have been Martin Truex Jr. being in or Austin Dillon? Austin Dillon is definitely a driver that could make some noise. I mean, we've seen Austin Dillon transfer further rounds of the playoffs before, but let's be honest. The 3 car's not going to get very far, at furthest the round of 12. Martin Truex Jr. is a guy who could flip a switch and all of a sudden he's in the championship 4. He's that kind of guy. So at the end of the day, I think if you also go by points, you put the more deserving drivers in, you're going to get a better quality product as well.
Yeah, it's a great point, and I agree with you. But I want to get Tyler in here. Tyler, what do you think NASCAR needs to do here with this whole debacle that they put themselves into?
Yeah, debacle is an understatement. I mean, holy cow. Just for the simple fact that what if Kurt Busch did not withdraw his waiver? Then we'd have Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. missing it out. Now, I understand what Armani's saying, like, TS, you had many opportunities to win a race you weren't able to. Daytona 500, Ryan Blaney has an opportunity to miss it, and then really any other race, he wasn't really quite there. Like, yeah, he was a top 5 car, but he wasn't really the guy to beat. Same thing with Martin Truex Jr. at a couple races. I don't know if anyone's really thought about this, but if we wanted to keep the playoffs, I mean, I'm the same thing with Will. If I wanted to set up it anyway, I'd get rid of the playoffs and go back to an old way and make the form of the point system more important when it was getting a victory. Like, make sure if you get a victory, you get way more points. However, if we're going to find a way to make the playoffs seem a little bit more fair for the people who are super consistent, I'd say do something similar to what we did. I think it was between like 2009 to 2012, where you'd have the top 10 in points, where it didn't matter how many wins they had, anything like that. They were locked in. If you were in the top 10 in points, you'd be fine. And then from 11th to 16th, have people who have a victory to be able to be like a wild card spot. So mix it up a little bit more, because that's where most of the controversy comes from, is those winners between 12th on back. That's what really shakes things up. So why don't you make it a little more competitive for those drivers, make it that win and you get in for those positions. And if you're in the top 10 points, you're fine. You're golden. That's what I think would be a great idea, because at that point you would eliminate any fear of Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. missing it out. And then you kind of bring up a little bit of competition, like, oh, who's going to make it in? Is it going to be Austin Dillon? Is it going to be Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric with that lucky win? Who's going to be the one driver with a victory who's not going to be able to make it through? That's my personal opinion. I think that would be the greatest thing. But then we come to the problem of how many rules are we going to add on? So I don't know the easy answer to this. We got plenty of options to go with, but overall, it's just a bad situation with Martin Truex Jr. missing it out. I hate seeing a top 3 in points missing it out for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you actually just like dumb it down to what it is. The guy 3rd in points missed the playoffs, and then if you basically you dumb it down even more, the guy in 3rd and 2nd basically missed the playoffs, because Ryan Blaney basically missed the playoffs, if not for a concussion to a driver that did get a win, and probably like. He was probably like top 10 in points too. I think Kurt Busch was like right around
he was
10.
I think 14th. He'd never cracked top 10.
No,
or he did like early in the year.
Okay, well, still, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. You look at in the end, the second in points, 3rd in points, we're gonna miss the playoffs. So.
And how worse would it have been if Kurt Busch didn't withdraw his waiver?
Oh,
and it would have been a driver who missed like 4 races made in over the guy in 2nd in points.
Exactly.
That would have been just terrible.
Yeah. I mean, clearly there needs to be some work done, but I go back to Will's point. I mean, I think NASCAR has it the way they want it. I get we have like the very loyal fans, like the 4 of us that, well, I guess not Armani. He doesn't want to change, but the 3 of us, I mean, we want to see something different. I do.
The reason I don't say it, because I know it's not going to happen. It's like, what's the point? Like, what's going to happen. At the most, just get rid of win and you're in.
And
that's
I honestly
really all I could say.
I think in the end, like Austin Dillon knows if he by the grace of God was somehow to win the championship, he'd probably be like, I didn't deserve this. There was guys that were way better than me throughout the whole
He's
season.
not going to think that. He's going to think, holy shit, I'm a Cup Series champion.
Well, that's not going to happen. So we don't even have to talk that.
You'll probably bet on it.
No, not me. That's for damn sure. No. That is a loss of
hold
income.
You to that. Holding you to that.
But that brings up a good point, Armani. Let's start previewing round by round who is going to get eliminated. That will lead us to Phoenix to find out who we all are picking for our 2022 NASCAR Cup Series champion. So round 1, the round of 16, the field in this order: Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, Alex Bowman, and last but not least, Austin Dillon. Round of 16 races start this Sunday at Darlington. Then we travel to Kansas, and of course, the all-coveted Bristol night race to finish the round of 16. When I look at those races, I feel like those 3 races, they always just come down to speed, who's the fastest. Obviously, Bristol night can get a little crazy, but you look at Darlington, Kansas, especially with Darlington only being a 400-mile race, it's really going to come down to speed, I believe. So I will go last. I am going to let Tyler go first. Who gets eliminated and why?
Do I just get to pick one driver? Because I'll go with the low-hanging fruit. Or do I gotta go with all 4 getting eliminated?
Oh, you got to go with all 4. You got.
Oh man.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, the easiest one I think is going to be Austin Dillon. Congrats on getting that victory at Daytona, but I haven't really seen any great results from any of the other races. Like if he's having a hard time trying to get a top 10, I don't see him advancing on. Next one I have here is Chase Briscoe. Chase Briscoe was doing great at the beginning of the year, just fell off during the summer stretch. One race I could see him do well at would be potentially Bristol. And no, I'm not comparing it to the Bristol dirt race. I just feel like that the Fords have been a little bit faster on short tracks. So Chase Briscoe, Austin Dillon. Alex Bowman has always been that one driver where we hope he can go further. We like him being that dark horse in races all the time. But these 3 races don't really scream Alex Bowman to me. And then for the last one, I'm not going to say someone like Austin Cindric because I feel like Austin Cindric can actually do really good in these coming races. So I think he can move on a little bit further. I think the one I'm going to go with, which is going to be actually a crazy one, but I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick getting eliminated in the round of 16. Yeah, he had those good races here recently. However, what else did he do in the year? Yeah, he had that great month of August, but after that, I don't know. I don't really see him really advancing that far forward. I don't see a spectacular race at Darlington. I see maybe at best an 8th place finish. Kansas, I see him finishing outside the top 10. And then Bristol, I see him struggling. I don't know what it is, but Stewart-Haas Racing, yes, do you see a little bit of fire in them? But I feel like you're going to see 2 Stewart-Haas Racing cars miss it and get eliminated in the first round, which is the round of 16.
The first steamy pick comes early in the round of 16. The 2-time winner already this season, Kevin Harvick, gets eliminated in Tyler's bracket. Wowzers. Oh my goodness. Oh, yikes. All right. Well, I like it. I think that we needed some spice added to the show, and I think you started us off there. Let's move to Will. Who you got, Will?
All right. Well, obviously, I'll start with the same obvious that probably everyone is going to start with, even though it's the way that this year has went. I mean, it's just like meant for the 3-car to somehow make it to the round of 12. But I'm going to go with the smart pick. Austin Dillon's going to be gone. Again, there's a reason he was 19th in points. There's a reason he's been the second best team or second best car at that team. Unless they just have a great 3-week stretch, I don't see it happening. Also going to agree with Tyler on the second pick, Chase Briscoe. Like the guy, but his average finish like the last month is 20th or something like that. I mean, he is nowhere looking like playoff form. The 4 car's gotten a lot faster, but the 14 is doing the same. The 14's running it just as bad as it's ran all year. My third pick, a little bit different, is William Byron. Byron.
Ty doesn't like that.
William Byron.
What the hell, man? Come on.
Byron's got the Hendrick speed, and I'm sure that Hendrick is working to dial something up here for this playoff run. But I mean, they have just fallen off the mountain the second half of the season. I mean, at the beginning of the year, they looked really strong. I was like, man, the 24 car, this maybe could be Byron's breakout year, but they have just disappeared. I mean, they've ran just as bad as the 48 car. Just Byron seems to somehow not get the criticism for it. And then my so spicy pick is Daniel Suarez gets knocked out in the first round. Trackhouse has fallen off just a tick the last month or so. And I think they know their real bullet in the gun to win the championship is Chastain. They've got to focus on the one car if they're really going to make a push for this championship. Suarez has no momentum right now. Yeah, he was up front when the rain or whatever hit at Daytona, but it's a plate race. He probably wasn't going to finish there anyways. Suarez just does not have the momentum to me. I don't feel anything special with the 99 car as they head into the playoffs.
Wow, what a surprise. You pissed off two people in the call right now with their two favorite drivers.
A little spicy with the Byron pick. I don't really think it's too spicy for the Suarez pick. I mean, he only had the one win. And that was really the only time I remember that he was the dominant car of the day. Other than that, I mean, he's a 8th to 12th place car, man, probably more like a 12th to 15th place car. So I like those picks. Armani, I will go to you, and then I will finish this off.
Austin Dillon, I don't need to say anything else. Moving on. Chase Briscoe, don't need to say anything else. His average finish, I think, 19.7. Moving on. Alex Bowman, I think his last top 10 besides Pocono was way back, like during the Fox portion of the season. That 48 team has been nowhere. I don't even think they have 20 laps left on the year. So moving on from there. And this last one, I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler who I have getting knocked out of the round of 12. But for me, the round of 16, it went down between William Byron and Kyle Busch getting knocked out. I'm going to take it to William Byron. That team, I don't think they've had a top 10 since Sonoma. That's how bad that 24 car has been. They've been next to nowhere. Yeah, you could say they're experimenting, but you're not experimenting for 4 or 5 months and you don't find something, especially when everyone's on the same playing field with this new car. So I got 2 Hendrick cars out. I got an RCR car out, and I got a Stewart-Haas racing car out.
Oh my goodness. 2 Byrons. Wow. All right. Fair enough. All right. I will go for it. So, yep. Austin Dillon to me,
Really? Have Austin Dillon getting knocked out?
Yeah.
Wow. What a surprise.
Yikes.
Come up with something original, Johnny.
Congrats to him for getting
Don't
that
worry, he's still
win,
gonna bet
on him. Sorry to Austin Dillon. Then I'm with you guys on the Chase Briscoe pick.
Oh my God, 2 for 2.
And then here's where I get Alex Bowman as well. I'm with you guys. The 48 team has not had. I don't think he's had a top 10 in 2 months. Just hasn't been the same. Really, I mean, honestly, hasn't been good all season. His win, he just had a good strategy and fought off a really good driver in Kyle Larson. And then I am going with Will. I'm going to go with Daniel Suarez to get eliminated. I just feel like that the 99, these tracks don't really fit his style well. I would have liked, I feel like if he could somehow make it to the round of 12, he's actually a sneaky pick to get to the round of 8 with Dega and Roval, to a road course that he's proven to be really good at. And then a super speedway where, I mean, anything can happen. So those are my 4 to be eliminated from the round of 16.
I just want to say, the guy who's probably the most against Alex Bowman being in the 48 car is the only one who hasn't made it through the next round. But everybody knows Alex Bowman is Mr. Pull it out of my rear.
Dude, Bristol Knight, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised.
He is going to find a way to make it out of the first round.
Yeah, and people are going to be like, it's going to be some crazy thing where
I actually don't think Alex Bowman's ever been knocked out of the first round. He's made it to at least around the 12 every single year.
There you go. I really could see him.
2018, he made it to the round of 12. 2019, he made it to the round of 12. 2020, he made it to the round of 8. And last year, he made it to the round of 12.
I think a rabbit out of his hat. I think he could possibly win Bristol, but I have him going. All right, let's move to the round of 12. We start with the worst track in all of NASCAR. No, folks, it's not New Hampshire. Go screw yourself if you think it is. It is Texas. That is the worst track. We then move to Talladega. And we then move to the Roval. Shout out NASCAR for at least putting Dega in the Roval in that round still, along with that crapshoot Texas. At least we have like a good second half of that round, but round of 12. I'll start here, and these are some steamy picks I'm going to give you in the round of 12. I'm going to start with the guy that I think William Byron obviously just hasn't been good enough, but I do think he gets through the round of 16. Hold on. I think
he's going to say Ross Chastain.
And then I think he doesn't, he doesn't get it done there. My second pick, Denny Hamlin, and I will tell you why. I just don't see Toyota having a good run on a road course. Austin Cindric, Kevin Harvick, those guys have all been better. Christopher Bell, he's been the best Toyota on road courses. I don't like any Toyota on the road course, being the Roval. I look at Dega, I think it's a wild card. Denny really hasn't been that good this year on his super speedways, which is shocking because he's one of the better ones in the sport. And he'll have the speed at Texas, but I think it's going to come down to, can he win Texas? I say no. So I have Denny Hamlin and William Byron. I'm going to throw Kyle Busch in that mix. Again, Talladega, he's been awful at super speedways for a while now. And then the Roval. I mean, I just don't see Toyota having a good Talladega and Roval stretch. And then the guy, I just feel like things are not going to go his way. His first time in the playoffs, Ross Chastain. I don't like him.
I called it.
I just don't see it at Talladega. I feel like he's going to, cause something. And then Texas, obviously, Trackhouse has had the speed at the bigger tracks, but I feel like the inexperience in the playoffs is going to pay dividends to Ross Chastain. So I see William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Ross Chastain, 4 big names getting eliminated in the round of 12. And as crazy as it sounds, I think when you actually explain, Toyota has sucked at road courses. I do not see them turning it around for the Roval. I just don't. And then you throw a wild card in Dega. I mean, anything can happen there. So that is my reasoning. Let me go to Armani. What do you got for us?
Well, I already gave the spoiler. Kyle Busch, I got getting eliminated this round. Not even for the sense that he's just, one top 10 in the last 2 months. But when you're in these contract negotiations, at this point, these contract negotiations are to the point where, it's pissing off Kyle Busch. I think you could see it on track, how it's starting to affect him. I mean, think about it. Once Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs started getting vocal, that's when that 18 team just started falling off a cliff. So even for a second place finish, it even ended up getting disqualified. It was still not good enough for Kyle Busch. So I don't like the environment around that 18 team. That's why I was tempted to even knock them out of the first round, but I decided to put him in the second round. That's as far as he'll go. Next one I'm going to do is Daniel Suarez. This is his first time in the playoffs. They do have speed. They still have back end top 10 speed. So I think they'll do enough to get to the round of 16, to get at least to the round of 12, especially at tracks like Darlington, Kansas, where Trackhouse does have speed and Bristol Suarez is sneakily good at. However, I just think that there's better guys ahead of him, so I think he's going to be out of this round. Next one I'm going to do is Austin Cindric. Road courses, he's been fairly disappointing this year, given the standards that we have for him.
Disappointed? Have you been He is like I think he's finished top 10 in every road course.
Kyle Larson's been better at a road course. Chase Elliott's been better at road courses. AJ Allmendinger's been better at road courses. I just named 3 guys who have been better at him at road courses.
I mean, I literally think he's finished top 10.
He was better at road courses last year during his part-time stint.
Okay, continue.
But you only got to be better than 4 other drivers.
Yeah. Continue. Please continue.
And then again, he's a rookie. No rookies even made it out of the round of 12. So I don't think Austin Cindric is really. If Chase Elliott couldn't do it in his stellar rookie year, I don't see Austin Cindric doing it. Though again, I could see it happening with a track like Dega and Charlotte. He's in a Ford at Dega. He is still Austin Cindric at a road course. You always got to put him in consideration. But then again, I don't see it happening. I think he's going home. And this is my shocker. We always have a shocker get eliminated in the round of 12, a driver that we do not see coming. It's happened every year. 2018 was Brad Keselowski. 2017 was Kyle Larson. 2019, I think, was also Brad Keselowski. I forgot who was in 2020 also. But my guy to get eliminated out of the round of 12, I think Ryan Blaney's gone out of the round of 12. The guys in front of him, I have more faith they can win. They've won. Blaney has not shown he can win really anywhere besides a flat mile track. You do not have that until at least Martinsville in the round of 8. But Texas, he'll be probably at best an 8th place car. Talladega, yeah, he's in a Ford, but anything can happen. Look what happened with Daytona on Sunday. I know, I was there. I saw it. And then the road course at Charlotte, yeah, he's won a road course before. Yeah, he's decent at road courses. But again, he hasn't shown me he can win, or even, when we were at Watkins Glen, he was non-existent. So Ryan Blaney, I think the lack of just being able to show winning speed besides a certain type of track is going to come back to bite him. So my guys out of the round of 12 are Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, Austin Cindric, and Ryan Blaney.
Spicy picks. I like them. I think they're all fair, which is crazy because, I mean, really, like Will said at the beginning, like this is wide open. I mean, any pick at this point is fair. It's going to be an insane playoffs, but who knows? I don't know. So we'll have to see. I will go to you, Tyler. Who you got getting eliminated?
All right, so I am a huge William Byron fan, but I got to be a realist here. Unfortunately, it's just not going to look good. Like the round of 16, I have faith that he can advance on forward, but round of 12, I mean, Talladega, he's caught up in every single wreck. Charlotte Roval, I don't like the idea of him having to be in a must-win situation. We saw that last year, and to be honest, he's decent at road courses, but there's plenty of more people who are better at road courses right now than him. So William Byron, that's an easy one to get rid of. I think the next one is going to be probably Austin Cindric, just for the simple fact he is a rookie. And yeah, you're going to have the Charlotte Roval. You're going to have Talladega. Something's just telling me, though, that it's going to be an uphill battle for him. And I don't really see him getting as lucky as he was near the beginning of the year at some of those races. So I think he's going to be another one eliminated. After this, things get a little bit tough, but I think I'm going to go the easier route with Kyle Busch. Like Kyle Busch in these races doesn't seem too appealing with me at all. I mean, we've talked about it to the end of days about road courses and Toyota's just not doing great. I think he's just going to be in a must-win scenario at Texas, even though it's the first race in the round of 12. And if he finishes probably like worse than 5th, then yeah, I'm going to be like, no doubt in my mind, he's going to miss it. And then the last one, I think I'm going to go with Christopher Bell getting eliminated in the round of 12, just for the simple fact, again, you're going to be looking at Talladega, which is not really a good track for Christopher Bell. Super speedways are just not that great for him. Texas, I see plenty of other drivers doing a lot better than him. And then Rovals, again, we go back to the same talk over and over. Even though he's been probably the best Toyota out of them all, he still would be in a situation that I think he would be more outside the points rather than in. I think that's 4 drivers. Did I pick 4 drivers? Okay. So those are the 4 that I don't think are going to make it. Byron, Cindric, Bell, and Kyle Busch.
Fair. All fair. Very fair picks. How about you, Will? What are you thinking?
Well, I appreciate everybody making you – every time someone tells you a reason, you're like, man, I probably should have thought of that. It's how tight this field is. This is the toughest round every year to predict. I'm going to start off with Austin Cindric. Even though I very much like the lineup of the Roval and Talladega for him, that could really be a nice combo. But we've never really seen a rookie have great success in this format. That usually ends up running out at some point, especially when, Blaney and Logano, both of his teammates are also involved. I just feel like they're kind of the favorites of that team. Not that they're going to pick a favorite, but I think Cindric's still going to kind of be the third wheel there. Next, Alex Bowman. Somehow he's going to squeak out of the 16, but that team is on the rocks, and I don't think the 48 is going to make it much further than that. I don't think there's much more I need to say about why Alex Bowman should be eliminated there. The next one, this one's a little tough because I would like to see this driver go further, but Tyler Reddick. I think Reddick has looked like he's had a better season than he has. He's had some breakout moments. He's got a couple of wins, but there's still been
average
a lot
finishes 16th, Will, I
there's
think.
been a lot of weeks where he's running right there with Austin Dillon. And we've already eliminated Austin Dillon, minutes ago. So I think Reddick, he always seems to have some tough luck in this time of the year as well. I just feel like it's going to happen again. I think the 8 team could definitely make a push, but needless to say, it's still Richard Childress Racing. I don't think they're ready for a deep playoff run. They're still not quite to that level. Reddick's good. There's a lot of potential, but and the Roval, I mean, he has had some road course success this year, but I just, my gut doesn't tell me Reddick makes it to a deep playoff run. Then I'm also going to go after Christopher Bell. I think Bell, same kind of situation. I just think kind of that luck's going to dry up again. He's had a solid year. He's had a very decent year, but one of the first strategies I always take when I pull this out, and a lot of times it's to my own detriment, is there's always 5 or 6 guys I'm confident in, and I'm confident right off the bat. I don't question them. I'm moving forward. And eventually I end up being between 2 or 3 drivers that I need to pick. And eventually it just ends up being a heads up pick. And I can't remember who I put him in over, but whoever that was is going to advance, and Bell is not going to be that guy.
Fair. I mean, we have so much different picks here. I mean, we are all contrasting each other quite a bit here. But again, I mean, this playoffs is wide open. I think, like, obviously Chase Elliott, we feel, and Joey Logano, we feel, are guys that probably will make it easily to the round of 8. But I mean, that was like last year. You looked at a guy like Blaney, Larson, Elliot. You could probably name like 5 guys that you felt Hamlin, very confident that we're making it at least to the round of 8. That is not the case this year at all. So, you know, I love the differing picks here, and I can't wait to see who's right. I would, you know, probably think it's going to be me. But we'll have to see. So
bet on everyone to make it to the round of 8.
Exactly. Let's move to the round of 8. So we start with the second Vegas race. We take it to Homestead, Miami for the first time.
Track.
The GOAT. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for Miami.
No one's denying it.
The first time seeing Miami in the round of 8, that's going to be pretty cool. So Vegas, Homestead, and then finally the last chance to get into the championship for Martinsville. We know what happened there last year with our good friend, the driver of the 48. So that was always a fun race. But let's go to who is going to get eliminated and be the 4 to make it to the championship 4. Will, I'll start with you.
So I'll do who I've got eliminated, and then obviously I'll say who I have as my championship 4 to cap
Wait,
it off.
you want to wait
on the final 4?
Yeah. Wait.
Sure.
Just give who's eliminated.
Jumping the ball already.
Eliminated. First, we're going to go with Kyle Busch. Kyle, again, he's just like a guy like a Truex. If you feel like at any moment he could turn that switch on, and you feel like this drought's not going to literally be 6 months long. Like Kyle Busch doesn't have a 6-month-long drought. Who knows? But either way, I've got his luck ending here. And I think you guys made some good examples of why he could actually be eliminated even earlier than this. So Kyle Busch is one of the guys I have here. Kevin Harvick. The 4 team has definitely found something over the last month, but I just don't think it's still quite enough to get there. This doesn't feel like a Harvick kind of year where he sneaks in. I just don't have that gut feeling about Harvick. And I feel like they kind of maybe had their moment in the sun a couple of weeks ago. They're going to still run well enough to make it through a couple of rounds, but I don't see that team all of a sudden rattling off 2 or 3 more wins. Next week will be Ryan Blaney. I think Blaney has sneakily had his best year as a Cup driver. People are going to say, well, how? You know, he couldn't win. Again, in my eyes, it's not always about winning. You need to win, but it's not always about it. Blaney has finally had some sort of consistency, and I think that will help him moving through the playoffs at some point. I still don't know if he wins a race, but I think he's a smart enough driver to put himself in this position. And it's honestly about time. Blaney needs, if Blaney's going to ever put himself in a championship conversation as a driver, he has to start making these kind of jumps. This has to start being the year where he really starts showing you, listen, I can make it through a few rounds, and if you put me in the right spot, maybe I can make a championship 4. Then my final guy, I'm nervous about this one, but Ross Chastain finally gets eliminated, does not make it to the final 4. You know, I just don't truly know how drivers are going to treat him. Armani has really been high on, I just don't think they're going to do anything, and almost to the point where it's like, to be fair, I don't know if anybody's going to do anything. I think here's the problem I've got. Some of the drivers he's had issues with, I think, are still going to be making some noise in the playoffs, whether it's the round of 12, round of 8. So they still have to worry about themselves. Now, if someone like a Denny Hamlin gets eliminated in the first round, then Ross Chastain has problems. But I think that could be the key to Chastain's success, is the guys he needs to worry about are still going to need to be worrying about a championship themselves. So getting eliminated in the round of 8, I've got Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Blaney, and Ross Chastain.
I think your best argument for Ross Chastain is just like, I see a lot of people have him go into the final 4. It's like, the dude's never been in the playoffs. You think a guy that's never been in the playoffs is just going to like bolt his way to the final 4? Like Chase Elliott as a rookie
last year wasn't in the car for 10 months, won the title, won 10 races. It can happen.
Yeah, but I mean, he had experience in the playoffs in like big clutch wins in his career.
Car, though.
That's fair.
Ross Chastain is also not Kyle Larson.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Armani,
it can happen.
Armani, I'll let you go. Who you got?
So the guys I got getting eliminated around of 8. First off, I'll start with Tyler Reddick. I don't know if Richard Childress is ready to make a Final Four. I think the A team does. The A team does have speed. When they're on, they're a top 5 car in the entire sport. I think this is where their luck runs out. I don't know if they're ready to really make it to a Final Four. Next one I got eliminated is Kevin Harvick. I like where the 4 team is. I think they could be a sneaky dark horse, maybe to make the Final Four. But Stuart Haas, I don't know if they're really there. I think they're just like a peg below. Maybe next year they can make that push, but I think they're just a step below some of these other teams. The 4 team I got out. Next one I got is Christopher Bell. He's been arguably the best Toyota, maybe besides Denny Hamlin. He's pretty much been Denny Hamlin, but he has consistency. He went from being like 30th in points after 3 races to I think as high as 6 in the points with like a couple races to go in the playoffs. So he's been really good. But then again, with these tracks, I can see him maybe making some noise. I just don't see it happening. And the last one I got is Ross Chastain. I don't know if Trackhouse is ready to make a Final Four. I don't know if Chastain is ready to make a Final Four. And again, I'm of the opinion, I don't think any of these drivers are going to do anything. At worst, they might just bump him out the way, but I don't think you're going to see a guy just straight out just, junk him or anything like that. Something we've known with all these drivers is they talk a lot. They can say, oh, just wait for the playoffs, wait for the playoffs. But like Will said, they're going to be worried about themselves. So if Denny Hamlin's in a round of 8 and Ross Chastain's in a round of 8 and it's Martinsville, do you really think Denny Hamlin's going to risk wrecking Ross Chastain for him to make the Final Four and then Ross Chastain does the exact same thing to him at Phoenix? That's not going to happen. But again, I don't know if that one team is really ready to make it. We'll touch on it. They've been kind of a half step below these past couple months. So that's why I have being eliminated. So again, my 4 guys getting eliminated: Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Kevin Harvick, and Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, I mean, and to we mentioned Denny. A lot of people, I have him going out in the round of 12, but let's say he does make it to the round of 8. Big issues there with Chastain, but they're both going to be going for the same, real estate, if you will, to make it to the championship 4. Chase Elliott, another guy that had big issues with Chastain, same thing. And then Truex has had some issues with him, but Truex is one of the nicest guys in the garage. He's not doing anything to Ross Chastain. We all know that. So I'm with you there, but I just have him. I just don't think he's going to get that far, even to the round of 8. But like those picks, I think those are all very fair picks. Tyler, what do you have in your round of 8?
So this is a really tough one for me because I'm really afraid I'm about to say every other manufacturer except Chevrolets are going to get eliminated here. And I don't really want to say that because that's kind of silly to think. Daniel Suarez, I think that's an easy one. I'm going to toss him out of the round.
I just realized you have Suarez making it that far.
Yeah, I didn't realize it either. I looked and I was like, oh, crap. There's my long shot right there. So I got Daniel Suarez getting eliminated in the round of 8. The only reason why I got him going that far is I feel like there's going to be a lot of good tracks for him in the first 6 races. But I think at that point, it's going to eventually run out short. I mean, at that point, the best of the best are there, and he's not going to be at that same level. So that one's the easy one to get rid of. I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin as the next one getting eliminated, as I think Denny Hamlin is going to be in a situation where if he doesn't win Vegas or Homestead, I think Martinsville, he's going to be done. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but he struggled so bad at Martinsville. It was so shocking. So I'm very nervous about that for him at that point. But I can see him totally getting a win. But if he doesn't get that win, chances are I don't think he's going to be advancing on forward. And then after that, this is when things get a little tough for me. Because there's one I'm going to say for the Final Four that I think is going to be the wild card one to make it all the way to the Final Four. So I'm going to hold off on that one. And then I think the next one is going to be Joey Logano. I think Joey Logano gets eliminated here as well, as Joey Logano has been one of those drivers who's been doing really good lately. He's been coming out of nowhere. At the same time, when you look at these tracks coming up, he seems like he's going to probably be like the 5th best. I think he's going to be the final one to just barely miss it by a point. So I got that. And then the last one is going to be Ross Chastain as well. I think everyone was super excited to see how Trackhouse Racing has been. It's been a fun team, but they're not quite there yet. You can kind of see it starting to bleed a little bit here in the final few races of the season finale, the regular season, where all of a sudden these drivers who are finishing 5th or 3rd in almost every single race, all of a sudden can't get a top 15. Something's going off on them, and I'm hoping that they can pick it up a little bit in the round of 16 and the round of 12. But the round of 8, I can totally see them falling off right there. And I can totally see a situation where Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain take each other out at Martinsville, and cause just that whole rivalry to blow on up right there, which I'm really hoping that happens. But yeah, those are the 4 drivers I see getting eliminated, which leaves one driver in the final 4 that I think was a big wild card, but I don't know if you want me to reveal that yet at this time.
Yeah, well, we'll wait. I'm gonna go quick, and then what we'll do is we'll give our 4 guys that are in the championship, and then we can give our pick. So, who I have getting eliminated in the round of 8. I look at these tracks: Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville. Tyler Reddick. I don't think he's been fast enough on the big style ovals to make a run there. I think and short tracks, Martinsville, those not really haven't been his bread and butter. So I think Reddick goes. I think Centric goes here, even though those are pretty favorable tracks for Centric. Vegas, Homestead, 2 tracks. Like Centric and the Fords have actually been pretty good on the. Well, I would say he's been good on the bigger style tracks. So Centric, Reddick gone. Then I have Blaney going. It's kind of the same thing. I look at Vegas. He wasn't good early on in the season there. Martinsville, he really hasn't ever been good on short tracks. And Homestead, I don't know. I don't see it with Ryan Blaney. And then I have the big one here that I think gets out in the round of 8 is Kyle Larson. I just think the stars have not aligned for Larson this year. I know it's crazy, but I mean, he had a stretch of races early on this season where he was awful. Like the first 3 races of the season were like, is Kyle Larson, or actually, sorry, the first 2 of 3 races were like, is Larson still here?
Gotta remind everybody.
Hey, that's all right. But I just don't see it. It's pretty hard to go back to back years in the championship 4. It's easier said than done. I mean, look at Kyle Busch. We all think, this is 3 years in a row where he's not going to be there. So it's pretty hard to get there back-to-back years. I don't see it. I don't think the stars align this year for Kyle Larson. So Larson, Blaney, Reddick, Cindric are the 4 that I have getting eliminated. So I will start, I guess, with the 4 that I have making the championship. And I see you pointing, Armani, in the one man that I think will be crowned the champion. So my championship 4, Chase Elliott, who I think is obviously the favorite to get all the way. Kevin Harvick I have getting there. I just feel like Harvick has gotten hot, and I feel like that confidence is just there for him now. I think he is so confident. He's probably, to me, Gabe Hart, Childers, probably 1-2 in my eyes. I think he's got one of the best crew chiefs in all of NASCAR. So I think, that combo can get you to the championship 4, especially when they both have confidence. Christopher Bell I have making the final 4, which I know is crazy, but I mean, this dude qualifies so well and has so much speed on the big, large ovals this year. I mean, he's like a pole machine, and if he's not on the pole, he's on the front row. And I look at the round of 8, Vegas, he had a great run. He was on the pole at Vegas. Homestead, I think another track is a very skill-based track where the guys that can run up high do well, i.e. Reddick, i.e. Larson, and I think Bell is in that category. And then Martinsville, I feel like, I know he's not the best short track racer, but I think he can definitely just have a solid run in advance. And then Joey Logano is my last guy to make it. I know that round of 8, it's tough because he really hasn't been that good on those big style oval tracks. But I just think Logano has had a really, really consistent season. I would say he's probably been the second most consistent driver overall this year. I think consistency, as I said earlier, plays key in the playoffs. So Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Bell, and Harvick, and my champion, just because it's Phoenix and what I have seen this year, the Fords have kind of dominated this style of track. I'm going to go with Joey Logano to get his second championship in 2022. Look, local guy for me, Connecticut guy, New England guy. I love to root for Logano. I get so much hate for, especially like, it was funny because my profile
You
picture.
get hate for a lot of things.
Well, yeah, but my profile picture for a while was like Kyle Busch, and then they would like give Logano hate. And I'm like, yo, I'm a Logano fan. Like, let's relax here. But I don't know. I think this is the year for Logano. I think the championship track in Phoenix with this next gen car, I think it fits the Fords the best right now. They've looked the strongest on this style track. and therefore I just got to go with that the manufacturer to take the win there, and I think it's Logano. So let's go to Armani, because I see you on the screen. Your championship for and your champion.
Well, the first guy I'm going to put the championship for is your reigning, defending Cup Series champion, Kyle Larson. Even at his worst point this season, I think he was 8th in points. He's been top 5 in points throughout most of the year. He's finally found some consistency. Obviously, he got that win at Watkins Glen. How he did it, that, discussion for another video or whatever. But he's been one of the more consistent as of late. And, I mean, Miami's one of his best tracks. Kansas, he probably should have won that early in the year. Martinsville's the only worry. But if he can win 2 out of the 3, I don't see why he couldn't make it to Homestead. Chase Elliott, I feel like that's the obvious one. He's been the best driver all year, most wins, top 5s, top 10s. I think he's even led the most laps. He's been the best driver all year. I really don't need to say anything. Joey Logano, I'm going to put in there also. 4, he's probably been the most consistent Ford all season long. Johnny's excited, I can see. Tyler is excited, I can see. Will is just minding his own business, I can see. But Joey Logano, he's been probably, like I said, the most consistent Ford besides Ryan Blaney. But like I said, unlike Blaney, Logano knows how to win. He's done it twice this year. So Logano, I got making it. And also, interesting fact, Joey Logano has made it to the Final Four in every single even year we've had this format. He made it in 2014, 2016, 2018, 2020. I think that continues this year in 2022. And the last guy I got making it in is Denny Hamlin, just because Hamlin is someone that, yeah, he's been very inconsistent. I could see him making the Final Fours easily. I could see him getting knocked out at the round of 16, but he has too much speed. Gabehart is too good of a crew chief to get knocked out so early. I know they only have like 7 top 10s on the year, but the playoffs are a different animal. Hamlin, while he may not have that championship mentality, he has that playoff mentality. And I think him and Gabehart are too good to just get knocked out any earlier. So Denny Hamlin, I got making the Final Four along with Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Larson. And my championship pick, unfortunately, was spoiled by Johnny. I think Joey Logano is going to win his second career Cup Series championship. Same reason. Ford has been the best team. The only tracks that I could confidently say, besides super speedways, that I could say a Ford driver will win that is at a flat track. And Logano, he won a Gateway earlier in the year. I think he led laps at Phoenix. He led the most laps at Richmond. These are the tracks that are the best at for Ford. I don't see Kyle Larson's been very up and down. One week he can be leading laps, the next he can be running 10. Chase Elliott, nothing against Chase. He's obviously the favorite, but I don't think he's going to have that speed to keep up with the Fords. We haven't seen him have that speed to keep up with the Fords at these flat tracks. And as for Dennis the Menace, I feel like he's going to get into something in these playoffs, whether it's with Chastain or with somebody. And let's say it is with Chastain and Chastain gets eliminated. Chastain can get problems for Hamlin. So Hamlin's been also very inconsistent. Again, I can easily see him getting to the Final Four. I can easily see him getting eliminated in the round of 16. So I think that inconsistency will come to bite him. And plus, Denny Hamlin hasn't won a title yet. I don't see him winning one anytime soon. So my 2022 Cup Series champion is sliced bread himself, Joey Logano. Probably the most boring driver I could come up with.
Oh, no, but let's go.
Hey, I picked them. That's as much as I'm going to give you.
I love it. 2 Loganos. And I saw Will's ass sweating.
Tyler's like, I see.
Will's ass was sweating. He's like, oh, shit. 2 Loganos up against my Chase Elliott? Oh, no. But
hold on. You don't know who I put.
Yeah, so we're going to save you for last. Let's let Tyler go.
Man, you guys are smoking something good. I'll tell you what. I did not
premium
expect
cigars from Smoke Daddy over down on University. That's where
I did not think both of you were going to go for Joey Logano. That came out of left field for me, really. But you know what? More power to you, I suppose. My Final Four is I got Chase Elliott in the number 9, the number 5 of Kyle Larson, the number 12 Ryan Blaney, and I got Tyler Reddick in the number 8 making it into the Final Four.
I can see what you mean by you did not want 4 Chevys making it.
Yeah, well, thank God I had 3 Chevys and 1 Ford. I had to change it up a little bit. My fear is Tyler Reddick getting eliminated in the round of 16 or the round of 12. If he can make it into the round of 8, I think he can make it into the Final Four. because that dude is phenomenal at Homestead. RCR has had stuff going in the right direction for them. So I think he can make it to the championship 4 if he makes it to the round of 8. That's why I got him there. And as far as the champion goes, I think you got to go with Chase Elliott. I know it's a predictable pick, but I'm seeing 2019 all over again. You see Chase Elliott just killing it during the summer stretch. And I think he's going to have himself a fairly consistent playoffs. I don't think it's going to be anything too flashy or anything like that, but he's going to be up there when it matters the most. And then in the final race, I think he's going to be one of the most dominant drivers in that race. Even this year, he was able to lead quite a few laps and was a front runner in the Phoenix race. And you know what? Who was able to do that in 2019 was Kyle Busch. He had a phenomenal regular season and then didn't do hardly anything during the playoffs until when it mattered the most. That's why I think Chase Elliott's going to win it. Kyle Larson going back to back, it would be stellar. I think he's just going to come up a little bit short with the next gen car, but I think he's going to be right there in the mix. Ryan Blaney's also going to be right there too. Tyler Reddick, I can see him having a good race at Phoenix, but at the same time, I see him finishing 4th overall in the final 4. So that's who I have in the final 4, and Chase Elliott winning his 2nd championship here in the Cup Series.
The easy pick. The easy. Armani said his pick was boring. That's a boring pick. The dude, come on.
Oh, I know, but at least I ain't smoking anything while on this episode.
Well, it's good stuff we're
Smoking that good
smoking.
cigar.
So yeah, exactly. All right, Will, finish us off. We understand Chase Elliott will be the champion. I get it.
Yeah, hold on. Slow down. So I do think Chase Elliott obviously makes the final 4. Even though, you know, he is the kind of driver that like memes get made out of. So you could see a situation where obviously him and Gustafson somehow blow this deal. But I've got the 9 car in the final 4. Kyle Larson, I think, is a very good pick. I think Larson is just, it's almost like he's just been coasting the last few months and would not be surprised at all. I mean, he's right there. Even when he's been, you know, rough this year, he's been like top 5 in points majority of the season. He's never really faded away. He didn't really battle for the regular season title or a ton of wins, but he's still been right there. Still managed to get 2 wins. Joey Logano, another guy I feel really, really good about. I think Joey quietly worked his way to 2nd in points. I had no clue he was 2nd in points or even in that battle for that discussion. So quietly has been really, really good. And just the aggressiveness that Joey races with is exactly what you need for the playoffs. And he's not afraid to put it to you. And most people don't ever put it back to him usually. So, you know, Joey's always just fast and aggressive, and that's a good combo. Then I think Denny Hamlin. Hamlin is.
So we got the same final 4.
Most of us actually have the same final 4. I think no, Tyler was the only one who did not have Logano in. So, but Hamlin, Hamlin is like somebody, you know, people don't think it's Denny Hamlin. He always tends to run well. He's made the final 4 a handful of times. Denny Hamlin is still a great race car driver. They had a terrible start to the year. They've mired themselves back, and they've kind of just played this winner take all strategy the last couple of months. They knew they were in the playoffs. They'd already won 2 races or however many he's won. You know, Denny is just a guy who knows how to work this system. So I think Denny gets there. In championship pick, obviously a lot of history on the line. You got guys going for their 2nd title. We got Hamlin going for his 1st title. And I said years ago that I did not know if this would happen until I saw it happen. And it might finally be the year that someone wins their 2nd championship, and it happens to be Chase Elliott in the 9 car. Now, I will say this. I hate making that pick because I hate picking my driver to win a championship. I hate picking my driver to win a championship because it almost feels like a situation where it's too good to be true. That Chase is going to have this great regular season. He's going to win these races, and then everything's just going to work out in the playoffs, and he's just happen going to be there. And you trust Alan Gustafson to make good calls for 10 weeks in a row. It makes me nervous. And he's only got a 33-point cushion. That's fine and dandy and all, but one bad race, the 9 car could be right in the thick of everything.
I think the thing that helps Elliott is I feel like he's probably going to win the Roval. And I feel like he'll get some points from that. He'll get a lock in, and then he can kind of just coast for some consistency to get a points cushion. But pretty predictable for you. That's easy. But
listen, I really like the Logano pick. I think Logano at worst will probably finish 2nd in points.
I just feel like
I didn't even pick my driver.
I just feel like Ford on that sort of track, like from what I've seen on the next gen, I don't like Chase Elliott is going to have to do something that like he's going to need Augustin like crazy call to find a way to find speed, put himself in a good position. But I think just in terms of green flag overall speed, I mean, I think the fours are going to be faster. So it's going to have to be something spicy, you know?
Who's been up front of these flat short tracks? Blaney, even Briscoe, Harvick, Logano,
Exactly.
even Centric. I think
Hamlin,
Centric won the pole.
Hamlin too. I mean, Hamlin's been another
Hold
guy.
Hold on. Johnny and Armani teaming up on the Chase Elliott picks here. Me and Tyler, let's lay it out. Who's been the best driver all year long? Who's won the regular season? Who's won the most races? Who has the most playoff points? You guys act like Chase Elliott didn't win at Phoenix 2 years ago. I get it. New car. I get it. We've been to Phoenix one time.
You're the one who's been saying all year, new car, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. But you also build a rapport over 26 weeks.
It's true.
Yeah, and I think that rapport, but guess what? It comes down to one race. What you did the other 35 weeks don't mean jack diddly squat.
100% correct.
It's also true. The thing that I also feel like worries me a little bit about Chase's, Chase's path back to the championship is there's only one road course, my friend. There's only one road course. I know you got Martinsville, which is a track. To be fair,
he hasn't won in a road course since last year.
Yeah.
Well, still, I mean, but he runs up front. He probably should have won the Indy road course. I feel like, he probably should have won that. And obviously I feel like he should have won Watkins Glen. I had a lot of money on him. That was my best bet of the week. And friggin' Larson.
Yeah, along with who else? Probably Byron.
Well, along with Larson too,
Harvick,
but it just wasn't
Bell,
the big bet.
You probably threw Cody Ware in there just for good measure.
All right. Well, that's the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you liked our picks. We've got two people here, myself and Armani, picking Joey Logano to be the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series champion. And then we've got two people here, Tyler and Will, picking Chase Elliott to be the 2022 champion.
Before we go, we just need to clarify something.
Please.
Johnny, you are not allowed to bet on every single Final Four driver to win the championship.
No, I'm going. I've already decided it's going to be Logano and Elliott, and that's it. That race, I'm going to bet on those two.
So he's going to bet on 50% of the Final Four.
Yep.
And the other two, he's going to bet on them getting a top 10.
But
he's going to bet on them getting top fives.
I'm betting. No. I'm betting on them to win the race. I think one of those will win. One of those two will win the race. And I think it's going to be
the champion always wins the race.
Can we make a rule for Johnny where he's only allowed to bet one driver for the Final Four?
Look at Mr. Ben Rhodes. Mr. Ben Rhodes did not win the race.
That's
Can
trucks.
we make
that's
trucks?
Now, come on, man. That's completely different.
Can we make Can we all make a rule? Johnny's only allowed to bet one Final Four driver to win the title.
That's
right.
Joey Logano. Logano.
So we have it recorded. Johnny, you are only allowed to bet on Joey Logano.
All right, fine. Joey Logano.
All three of us are witnesses.
I need to buy some Logano merch then. Holy smokes. I think I only have a hat. I need to get
I got a hat. I got his championship hat and his championship shirt.
I need a little more.
I need his championship diecast.
I need some
that was at that race.
I need some good luck here if I'm just doing Logano. But what a show. Thank you fellas for coming on. I really appreciate it. I think we've got some spicy picks all the way through 16, 12, 8, and obviously the championship 4. I think there's spicy picks left and right. I think this is, like we said, going to be the craziest playoffs we've ever seen. And I know we continue to say that every year, but there has never been a closer playoff grid than this year. So I think just, coming into this, nobody is safe, if you will. It's like American Idol, right? Nobody is safe. And with that,
NASCAR to American Idol.
That's how we decide to
end the show. We're going to ask all three of you to sing a song, an American Idol song. Just kidding. We would never want anybody to hear. Probably, I wouldn't want to hear Will sing, that's for sure. But
I have to hear it almost every day.
Especially right now, my voice halfway gone.
All right. So real quick before we go, let's do some plugs again. So I see him on the screen. Wow. Squeegee screen. William here, NASCAR Opinion. Will, where can they check you out?
On Twitter at NASCAR_opinion for all your terrible takes on everything that's going on in NASCAR. And then anything you support on social media regarding Cherokee Speedway, which is in Gaffney, South Carolina, Livonia Speedway, which is in Livonia, Georgia, or the Carolina Sprint Tour, which is a travel and sprint car tour in the Carolinas. That's directly supporting me. So go support those pages.
Yes, check him out and make sure to get in some Twitter battles with him because a lot of people do and they're always fun to watch. So it gives me, Tyler, and Armani something to laugh about. That is for sure. So definitely check him out. Then we've got Vanilla Wafers. My friend Tyler here. Ty, I know you mentioned already, but again, do one more final plug. Where can everybody check you out?
Check me out on Twitter at TylerV33 when you make fun of me when Kevin Harvick advances into the round of 8 or further, and I got him eliminated in the round of 16. That's probably the hottest take. You can also follow me on TikTok at Vanilla Wafers 44, where I have correctly guessed 2 winners in the 2022 season, which is a horrible number, but I'm good on fantasy.
Hey, shout out to Tyler.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
To Tyler.
Well done. Well done.
And then follow me on my podcast at NASCAR Field Filler Podcast. I can do good fantasy picks. I can promise you that. So you can follow me on there. And then on YouTube at Vanilla Wafers, where I'm starting to post more YouTube friendly videos every single 2 weeks. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely check him out. He's got some funny stuff. Weekly therapy is always good. We enjoy that. So well done, Ty. And then finally, the Motor Minister himself, the host of the Motorsports Ministry, my good friend Armani. Armani, where can the fellas check you out?
So you can check out my podcast, The Motorsport Ministry, on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and Amazon Music. You can find me on Twitter at Motor Minister. If you want to support anything that I do, you can follow at GSMC_football. You can also check out the GSMC Football Podcast. That's a podcast I do every Tuesday, along with the GSMC Fitness Podcast I do every Thursday. So you want to hear terrible football or fitness takes, you can listen to those. My Instagram is at Armani DePaul. And coming soon, if you like watching college sports and you want to hear me do terrible play-by-play, you can look up all the Florida Memorial University sports for play-by-play. I think I'll be doing some play-by-play for volleyball on Wednesday. So if you want to support listening to that, just check it out. But again, Twitter at Motor Minister, Instagram at Armani DePaul.
Well done. And we'll give a little sneak peek. You might hear some familiar faces and voices on the Motorsports Ministry this week, but that's just a preview. Maybe something special could be coming. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But thank you. Appreciate everybody watching. Please give us a like. We always want to hear what you guys think in the comments. I love to hear the interactions you guys get in the comments. So whatever your championship predictions are, whatever your final 4 are, make sure you put that in the comments and subscribe for more content. Everybody's showing their merch here. We got a Larson hat. We got an Elliot hat. And we have, I don't even know what Tyler's doing there. He's giving the 33 car. I think what is that? An old Corey LaJoy die?
Hey, no,
that's my die cast.
Fire.
Oh, that's his fire. Okay. I like that. Tyler has his,
Yeah.
there it is. So Tyler's got his own die cast. But there it is. Thank you all. Make sure you subscribe for more content, and we'll see you soon.